Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today it is Thursday, and as always, we are back on Thursday every single week with our NFL game picks. And today we have our week three game picks. Week three starts tonight with a Thursday night football matchup between Miami and Buffalo. And we are now rolling into the NFL season 2 weeks down, and we are in the midst of it, people. Football, best time of the year, as always. But today, let's pick some games. So, without further ado, before I get into it, if you guys do enjoy, please like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications for more videos exactly like this. We have weekly shows with a 365 recap. We have weekly NFL game picks like this, and we're going to have other videos sprinkled in along the course of the NFL season. So there will be plenty of content as we move on. But let's get this thing started. I'm going to start it off with going over my record. Last week I did forget to do this. I went 12-4 last week, but last week I forgot to do this. I ended up putting it in the comments that I went 12-4 last week. But to say the least, this past week, week two, was an absolute disaster. 7-9. That brings me to 19-13 on the season through 2 weeks. 7-9 is about one of the worst weeks in game picks I ever had. It was just a total disaster. Went 0-2 on the Monday night doubleheader, lost the Sunday night football game, went like 1 for 4 in the 4 o'clock window. It was just not good at all. But let's hope to rebound this week, and let's hope to have a better week in the game picks so we can make it a little bit respectable on this channel. How about that? So we are 2-0 in the locks. We're starting undefeated on the lock of the week, and we are 1-1 on the upsets after the Giants lost last week in a dogfight with Dallas. So honestly, not a bad upset pick because they kept it really close the entire game, but Russell Wilson and the Giants just couldn't get it done in the end. But enough of that. Let's get right into this week. Starting off with Thursday night football AFC East matchup to start the weekend. It is the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins now 0-2, coming off of losses to Indianapolis and losses to New England. Last week they were in a dogfight with New England, scored a lot of points on the game-winning drive. Tua takes a sack on 4th and long, and the Patriots end up escaping Miami with a win. Miami drops to 0-2, and Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat. Tua Tagovailoa hasn't played well through 2 weeks so far, and the sky is falling in Miami, to say the least. The Bills, they're on the other side of the spectrum. They are 2-0. They started the season 2-0 with a thriller win on Sunday Night Football against Baltimore in Week 1 and a blowout win over the Jets last week in MetLife Stadium to go to 2-0. I'm not overthinking this one. This is an AFC East matchup. They're in Orchard Park. They're at home for the Buffalo Bills. I cannot see them losing this game. A lot of people are thinking it might be a trap game for the Bills. I mean, I see where you're coming from. Miami can do that to you. I think Miami will score some points. Ed Oliver will not play in this game for the Bills. Matt Milano will not play in this game for the Bills. I think that Miami will score some points. Devon Achane will have a good game. He's historically been very good against Buffalo. Tyreek Hill will get some catches. Jalen Waddle's questionable going into tomorrow night, but in the end, I think Buffalo scored more points. They're the better team. They're at home on their home turf. Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, obviously. And Buffalo starts their season 3-0, and Miami starts their season 0-3. And I think Mike McDaniel, if this is a really bad loss, he could potentially lose his job on Friday morning. I think it's going to be that bad. But I think the McDaniel firing is coming very, very soon in South Beach. So give me the Bills, start the season 3-0, and get the win on Thursday night football. Starting off the Sunday slate with an NFC South matchup. It is the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. The Falcons, they're now 1-1 after picking up a win against the Vikings last week on Sunday Night Football. And they play good defensively. They played very good defensively. They've had good pressure generated from the defense in the first 2 weeks, which is something that Atlanta hasn't seen in years. They're getting to the quarterback. Jalen Walker obviously was drafted in the first round along with James Pierce Jr., both drafted in the first round, and it looks like Atlanta is finally generating some pass rush after what Falcons fans clamored for years. Michael Penix Jr. is playing well. Bijan Robinson had the best game of literally any player in that Vikings game on Sunday Night Football, and they came away with the win in a very defensive game. Carolina, they start the season 0-2 after a loss to the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals just took away big lead first three quarters. They were up like 27-6, something like that. They took a huge lead in the game. Carolina started mounting a comeback. They were scoring some points. Bryce Young was making some good plays, but in the end, Arizona's defense got a stop on the final drive to put Carolina in the dirt, and Arizona started 2-0 while Carolina started 0-2. Again, this is one I'm not overthinking. I think Atlanta's clearly the better team here. Carolina, man, is it time to give up on Bryce Young? He played really well in the back end of last season, had good games against Philadelphia. He was had playing with confidence, throwing some good passes. I mean, he was playing well. That's the bottom line, and it's sad to see it end like this. But his rookie year was really bad. The first about three quarters of last season was really bad, and he started finally looking like he was on the up and up at the end of last season. And evidently, he hasn't started this season very good, man. Um, it might almost be time to give up on him, but Atlanta's the better team here. They're going to storm Carolina and win this game. I think Atlanta's going to start 2-1, and Carolina's going to drop to 0-3, and people are going to start questioning Dave Canales' ability to head coach a football team. So give me Atlanta in this game to win to start the 1 o'clock window on Sunday. Next up, we have an interconference matchup with the second game at 1 o'clock on Sunday. It is the Green Bay Packers, arguably looking like the best team in the National Football League right now through 2 weeks, taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Packers, like I just said, looking like the best team in football through 2 weeks. I picked against them last Thursday night, and they did not prove me right. The Commanders ended up losing to the Packers. I mean, they've looked good through 2 weeks. Defense looks great. Micah Parsons is playing well as usual, looking like the trade already has paid off for him. I mean, they're playing well. Him and Rashawn Gary are a deadly edge duo off the ends, and they're balling on defense. That's the bottom line. They are balling out on defense. Jordan Love's playing great. Tucker Kraft had a great game on Thursday night, and they look dangerous. The Browns, they're 0-2 after losses to Cincinnati and Baltimore in back-to-back weeks. Baltimore, it was a close game for about the first half. Divisional slugfest like I predicted, and Baltimore just blew the gate away, opened the game up, and ended up winning the game. I believe it was 41-17. Lamar Jackson played well. Zay Flowers played well. Quinshon Judkins for the Browns did show some promise, but Baltimore is clearly the better team in that game, and they got the win. You could argue this is the best team in football through 2 weeks versus the worst team in football 2 weeks. You could make that argument, and I'm not overthinking it. That's the bottom line. I'm not overthinking it. I'm taking the Packers. Again, they look great. They look like a Super Bowl contender. That's the bottom line. The defense is flying around. The offense is playing well. I mean, Josh Jacobs is still that guy. They have a bunch of receivers in that room. No matter if they're all they're number two caliber receivers or not. They have a bunch of bodies in that room, and they look like a great team. They look like they're going to be a big threat in the NFC and the entire NFL as a whole and become a Super Bowl contender. So give me Green Bay to start the season 3-0, Cleveland to start the season 0-3 on Sunday. And let me tell you, let me take a sip of water before these next three games right here. Really, next four, I should say. Take a sip of water here. These next four games are very tough games to predict, let me tell you, because when I went through these four games before I started click record on this video, I was flabbergasted about how tough these games are to pick. This week, it's a trend to me. It's either really easy games to pick like this one or 50-50 games, and they're very, very tough games to predict and very, very tough games to pick going into the week. So, yeah, these are some tough decisions to make, and it's going to be really tough this week to have a really good week in game picks. So, hopefully, we can get them right. But we have an AFC South matchup here between the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Texans, they're starting their season 0-2. Back-to-back losses now versus the Los Angeles Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past Monday night. Houston took the lead late in the game, had a blocked punt. They ended up scoring, but Baker Mayfield conducted a game-winning drive, and Tampa Bay squeaked past the Texans on Monday Night Football. The Jaguars, they host this game in northern Florida. Last week, they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, led by Jake Browning for most of the game, to be honest with you. Brian Thomas Jr. did not play a very good game. Trevor Lawrence threw some turnovers. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, man, it's time to start proving yourself. There was a moment in that game where there was a little bit of a heated moment between Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen was kind of like making an expression on the sideline. Trevor Lawrence kind of brushed him off, and it looked like a little bit tension there. But Jacksonville's 1-1. They're back at 500 now through 2 weeks, and they host this game against the Texans. I'm not gonna lie, this might be the toughest game on the entire schedule for me to pick. On one hand, you look at the Texans. I mean, they're 0-2. At this point, CJ Stroud is not playing good football in these past one season, 2 games now. He's not playing great football. Since that rookie year, he hasn't been up to his standard. And it's kind of the same thing with Trevor Lawrence. That one great year he had was 2022. He led the Jacksonville Jaguars to 5 straight wins and a playoff berth, a trip to the divisional round where they evidently lost to Kansas City. But both these quarterbacks still need to prove themselves. And I trust DeMeco Ryans, who has a few years under his belt now as a head coach, over Liam Cohen. And I think the Texans are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a very close game. AFC South matchup. I think it's going to be down to the wire. But I am going to take the Texans in this one. I cannot see him starting 0-3, even though the run game is really sluggish. Nick Chubb just does not have it anymore to me. I do not know why Woody Marks isn't more involved in the ball carrying game, but I look for Nico Collins to have a big game. I look for Jaden Higgins to start showing up. Jalen Knoll, Xavier Hutchinson. These are guys in the Texans wide receiver room that need to start showing up. So I'm gonna pick the Texans in this one. Not very confident in it, but I think they're gonna get the win here and avoid the 0-3 start. Because if they start 0-3 and Jacksonville starts 2-1, I mean you might be looking at a boat race between Jacksonville and Indianapolis to win the AFC South because they're at danger of going 0-3 now. So Texans have to pick this one up. This is absolutely a must-win game for DeMeco Ryans and crew, and I think they're gonna get it done. Next up, we have my Cincinnati Bengals traveling to the Twin City, taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Bengals 2-0. This is not how I thought I'd be feeling after 2-0 start. 2-0. Joe Burrow is done for 3 months and potentially the season. Jake Browning will be starting at quarterback. On the Viking standpoint of things, they're coming off a loss to Atlanta on Sunday Night Football. No J.J. McCarthy, no Aaron Jones. Christian Darrisaw is questionable. He practiced in full today, though, or today, as I'm recording this on Wednesday. But tomorrow he'll also probably practice in full. Very likely he will. But when I saw Joe Burrow went out on Sunday night, on Monday morning, I was thinking, I'm not picking against the Vikings in this game. I'm not picking against the Vikings. I'm picking against the Bengals, and I am putting my foot down and picking against them. Then I saw we had no or the Vikings had no JJ McCarthy and Aaron Jones. And I was kind of like, do I stay with the Bengals? I think Jake Browning will be competitive. I think this is a game the Bengals might need. I think they're going to have to go 1-1 in these next 2 games between Minnesota and Denver. I think they're at least going to have to go 1-1 in these 2 games if they want to have a solid season here. I also see Christian Darrisaw practice in full today, and it looks like he's going to play. Big news going up against Trey Hendrickson. How healthy will he be? He hasn't stepped on a football field in almost a year. How well will he play against Trey Hendrickson? I think it's a key matchup. I'm still taking the Bengals. I know it might be biased. It's a very tough game to pick this week, but I'm riding with my boys. I think Jake Browning will play well. He's a gunslinger. He'll give you some bad turnovers, but he'll give you some good plays as well. He has weapons. He has Chase Brown. He has Jamar Chase. He has T. Higgins. He has guys to produce in an offense like this. And I think Jake Brown is going to bring the Bengals to a 3-0 start. I can't believe I'm saying that. I cannot believe I'm saying that. The number one CBS crew will actually be on this game this week to call Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz, but pretty crazy to say that, but it's week 3 and we're already talking about Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz. What is my life? But I'm taking the Bengals start 3-0 to knock off the Vikings on the road in a hostile environment and get the win. And to take on the Denver Broncos next week, which would be another pivotal game. So, yeah, give me the Bengals there, even without Burrow. And Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz, once in a lifetime matchup. No water left in that. Next up, another very tough game to pick. It is an AFC matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. The Steelers, they're 1-1 coming off a loss to the Seattle Seahawks this past Sunday. Caleb Johnson made a key mistake, gave the Seahawks a free touchdown in the end zone, basically forgot the kickoff rule. An absolute blown play, bozo of the year type of play. I mean, Mike Tomlin went out and said we don't foresee Caleb Johnson returning kicks for the foreseeable future now. So he's basically demoted from the kick returner position. Rookie running back out of Iowa. Huge mistake for the Steelers. Basically cost them the game single handedly. And the Steelers dropped to 1-1, go to 500 on the year. Same applies for the New England Patriots, who got their first win. They're coming off a win against the Miami Dolphins in Miami. Offense looked good. Patriots defensive line is getting pressure on the quarterback. Harold Landry's top 5 in the league in sacks right now. Milton Williams, their big ticket free agent signing, is getting pressure on the quarterback as well. I mean, their defense is playing well, and rumors are Christian Gonzalez may be back on the field this week, which is big playing against DK Metcalf. If Christian Gonzalez is a big factor in this game for me, because if he plays, I feel like I like New England in this game. If he doesn't play, I feel like I like Pittsburgh. So this could be one I switch during the week, depending on if Gonzalez suits up or not for this game. But I'm gonna go with the home team. Call me biased being a Bengals fan or whatever. I don't really care. I'm taking the Patriots at home in this game. I mean, week one, Rodgers played very well. They squeaked past the New York Jets. The defense has still been suspect, allowing 30 plus points in the past 2 games. Even with all the additions they made, you could say Jalen Ramsey being one of the key ones. Still having TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, still having those guys on the team. Alex Highsmith's injured now. He will not play on Sunday. But I'm taking the Patriots at home. This could be one I switch during the week, depending on Christian Gonzalez status. I don't know 100% if I'm going to switch it yet, but right now, I'm taking the Patriots at home to get the win over the Steelers in Gillette Stadium. Next up, we have potentially the game of the weekend. You could argue this, or you could argue the Monday Night Football game all the way down there. I think those are the two contenders for the best game of the weekend, but I'd argue this one. Both teams sitting at 2-0 right now, a playoff rematch in the NFC. It is the Los Angeles Rams versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Rams, they're 2-0. They've beaten the Texans and the Titans in back-to-back weeks. Pretty sluggish start versus the Titans this past weekend, but Matthew Stafford turned it on. Devontae Adams played well. Puka Nacua played well. Both their receivers caught some passes, made some plays, and the Rams eventually got the win. The Eagles have also started 2-0. They come off a win against the Kansas City Chiefs where they jumped a few times on the tush push. There's no debating that. Jalen Hurts and Chris Jones got a little bit of a jawing match, but they won the Super Bowl rematch. They start the season 2-0, and the defending champs look like themselves. Jalen Hurts hasn't had to do much in the passing game the first 2 weeks. It's really been the Eagles' running game, which it was last year too, but it looked more like the Jalen Hurts show last year too as well. But Barkley's still doing his thing. Jalen Hurts is still running on the ground as good as ever, and I'm taking the Eagles start 3-0 at home here. I think the home field advantage is big in this game. This is a playoff rematch. This was potentially, you could argue, the best game of the entire NFL playoffs last season. I mean, the Rams and Eagles played a snow game in the second half. Saquon Barkley had a huge run against them. They played twice last season. Eagles beat them twice, and I expect no different here in Philadelphia in week 3. And I would not be surprised to see these two teams meet again in January, as I really like Stafford and I really like Hurts. So both these teams will be very good in the long run, I think. Two good head coaches in Sean McVay and Nick Sirianni, but I am going to take the Eagles at home. I think Barkley will be too much for that Rams D line, and give me the Eagles. Next up, we have the Bucks and the Jets. The Bucks hosting the Jets, wearing their throwback all-white creamsicle uniforms. Their first time Tampa Bay's wearing them since 1970s, 80s. Around. They're wearing the all white. They usually have been wearing the orange the past few seasons with the throwback, but they brought the all white back now, so they're wearing them at home versus the Jets. And I'm not picking against Baker Mayfield. I think Tampa Bay starts 3-0. I really don't have much to say. Justin Fields will not play in this game. That's a big talking point. He has a concussion. He's banged up. He will not play. Tyrod Taylor is starting, I believe, for the Jets. He's a serviceable backup. He's a veteran in this league, won a Super Bowl before as a backup with the Ravens, started numerous years for the Buffalo Bills. He's a player that we remember for a while. He's a great backup, but not enough to beat Tampa Bay on the road. Baker Mayfield rolling right now, riding high off the game-winning drive on Monday night. Tampa Bay's running game. I mean, the passing game, they have Mike Evans and Mecca Ibuka. Chris Godwin is back practicing, though he's expected not to play this week. He'll probably be back in week 4 or 5. I believe they play Philadelphia next week, which will be a really, really good game if this goes to fruition here and they both start 3-0. But give me Tampa Bay to start 3-0. Not much else to say. They get the win at home versus the Jets. Next up, we have an AFC South matchup. Two AFC South matchups this week. Both teams, or all four teams in the AFC South, playing matchups against each other. It is the Indianapolis Colts against the Tennessee Titans. The Colts, 2-0. Daniel Jones is firing on all cylinders. The offense looks great. Shane Steichen is coaching up a storm. And the Colts upset, in my opinion, an upset. It was at home, but game-winning field goal. They initially missed a 60-yarder, came back after a penalty, hit the 45-yarder, and beat the Denver Broncos. The Titans, on the other side of it, 0-2. Cam Ward is kind of getting failed by his offensive line and receivers right now. The offense does not look like it's rolling. And they started the season 0-2 with Brian Callahan at head coach. If the Titans don't succeed this year and they don't show some flashes, I think Brian Callahan could be on the way out. But we'll see. This is a Tennessee Titans home game. It is an NFC South matchup. If y'all remember last year, the New Orleans Saints started 2-0. I called it a fraud watch for weeks. Those 2 weeks, I was like, I still do not believe in the Saints. They played good first 2 weeks. They were firing on all cylinders offensively. Derek Carr was balling out, and the Saints started 2-0. I believe we have the same situation. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward to get their first win of the season in their second home game of the season. Cam Ward getting his first career win. Brian Callahan winning against the Colts at home and a team they know very well. And I see this as a very much trap game for the Colts, who are riding high. Daniel Jones is riding high. I expect the Titans to be able to pick off Daniel Jones once or twice. Alec Manor, watch him for an anytime touchdown this game. I'm telling you, he's looking great. The receiver out of Stanford. I expect Calvin Ridley to rebound in this game. Tony Pollard has to make some plays, but I think Tennessee can get this done and go to 1-2 and drop the Indianapolis Colts to 2-1. So give me the Titans in a big upset. Next up, we have the last 1 o'clock game on the slate. It is the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Commanders. The Raiders. Geno Smith was not good on Monday night. I don't think he completely passed over 10 yards the entire game per ESPN, which is insane. And maybe on the last few drafts he did. Maybe he did, but 3 interceptions, over 40 pass attempts. It was a disaster class for Geno Smith and the Raiders. I mean, could not get anything going. On another hand, Ashton Jeanty through 2 games, the generational running back out of Boise State, also has not gotten much going. So it's a little alarming there. I know we'll give Ashton Jeanty time, but he has not had a good first 2 games. Though the Chargers defense has shown out and has played well, we still need to see more from the Raiders. Washington, they host this game in Landover. Jaden Daniels, I don't expect him to play. I don't think Dan Quinn expects him to play. He is banged up. So it would be Marcus Mariota if Jaden Daniels can't suit up. But I trust Marcus Mariota, to be honest with you. I trust Marcus Mariota. I trust the rest of the Washington Commanders team. Mariota's a seasoned vet. He's played for the Raiders before, actually. He can move with his legs. He's one of the more quality backups in the entire league. Um, I expect Washington to rebound at home after the loss to Green Bay on last Thursday. They're coming off a mini bye week, so give me Washington to beat the Raiders. Raiders drop to 1-2. Washington goes 2-1, and they get the win. Now we enter the 4 o'clock window as we have an AFC West matchup between the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers. First thought on this game, how about the NFL schedule makers? Given the Chargers, the Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos, first 3 weeks of the year, all your division matchups, first 3 weeks of the year, you get a taste of all three of those teams very early. But Denver, a loss to Indianapolis last week. Bo Nix, few costly throws. Troy Franklin played well. I mean, the running back tandem, J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey played decent. Cortland Sutton was almost non-existent when they lost to Indianapolis. Will Lutz missed a key field goal in the game, and they dropped to 1-1. The Chargers. Am I ready to admit I was wrong about them? I gotta give it to him. Justin Herbert's playing fantastic. He did have a really bad throw. Jermaine Pratt almost picked it off on Monday night, when he had great blocking, but nonetheless, he's making some good plays. He's throwing some good passes. Justin Herbert is playing well. The Chargers defense is also playing very well. Deion Henley, one of my favorite players in the NFL, one of the most underrated players in the NFL, made so many plays on Monday night. Khalil Mack, Mr. Consistent in the league for a long time now, will not play in this game. He went to injured reserve. I believe it's an elbow injury. His arm looked like a very gruesome injury, but thankfully he'll be able to return in a decent amount of time frame, and he goes to injured reserve. He'll probably be back around mid-season. But the Chargers are playing well. Cam Hart's made some plays. Tarheeb Stills made some plays. Those two are questionable for the game, I believe, but they're probably going to play. Am I really going to pick against them 3 times in a row? I am. I'm taking the Broncos here. I think Bo Nix needs a big game. That's really my reasoning. I think he needs a big game to get back on track. I think Courtland Sutton needs a big game to get involved. I think Troy Franklin needs to build on the performance he had last week. And I think the Chargers are eventually due for a loss. But if they get this win and they start 3-0 in the division, it's time to start looking at the Chargers as a real team. I was skeptical of them going in. I thought moving Joe Alt to left tackle after the Rashawn Slater injury was a mistake because next year Rashawn Slater's going to be back and then Joe Alt's going to go back to right tackle. I was like, what is going on there? But even without Rashawn Slater right now, the Chargers are firing on all cylinders. Defense is playing well, Herbert's playing well, and the Chargers are look good. But I am taking Denver this weekend to go to 2-1. Chargers dropped to 2-1, and they are now tied in records. Next up on Sunday, we have the New Orleans Saints taking on the Seattle Seahawks. I'm taking the Seahawks. I mean, what do I have to say about this one? The Saints last week lost to Mac Jones. Mac Jones tore him up. Spencer Rattler, I haven't heard a word about him for 2 weeks. Hasn't really shown anything special. This game's in Lumen Field. Seahawks coming off a win. I think they're gonna ride high on that, go to 2-1, get two in a row, and beat a team they're clearly better than. Zach Charbonnet, I don't believe practiced today, but who knows if he gets to go in this game. The Seahawks are a better team here. The Saints are one of the worst teams in the National Football League. Give me Seattle. Next up, we have America's Game of the Week on Fox. Brady and Berkdar on the call for this one for Fox. It's kind of crazy because they sent Joe Davis and Greg Olsen to this one when this is clearly the better game than this game, but it's 4:25 on Fox, America's Game of the Week. It's the Dallas Cowboys on national television. Well, not national television, but most of the nation's getting this game. Um, it is the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. The Cowboys, they get a thrilling win, to say the least, against the New York Giants last week. Dak Prescott plays well. Javonte Williams has had a great start to the season through 2 games. George Pickens made some plays. CeeDee Lamb made some plays, and the Cowboys get a win when their offense looks dangerous. They look good. Javonte Williams looks good. I mean, their offense looks pretty dangerous, to say the least. The Bears, they got 52 points dropped on their head last week. Ben Johnson returned to his old stomping grounds in Detroit. Amon-Ra St. Brown walked him down. Jared Goff threw 5 touchdown passes. NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He was great in the game. Jahmyr Gibbs played well. I mean, they were good. Detroit responded well to the loss in Week 1 versus Green Bay. They got back on track. They scored 50 points. And shut up all the talk. Shut up me, and shut up a lot of other people that were talking about them losing both their coordinators. But yeah, I think this is a big game for the Bears morale. I'm going to keep it a stack. It's in Chicago. It's at Soldier Field. It's a big game. It really is a big game. Most of the nation's seeing this game. It's at home. Fans are going to be in attendance. Big game for Caleb Williams. Romo Dunze's had some good games through 2 weeks. They have Romo Dunze, DJ Moore. I mean, they have playmakers. Colston Loveland. I want to see him get more involved. Hasn't had nearly enough snaps for me through 2 weeks. I'm going to take the Bears. I think it's a big game for them. If they lose this game, I mean, we're going to start having questions about Caleb Williams very, very soon if he doesn't turn it up here. Ben Johnson and crew don't get this show on the road pretty soon. So I think this is a big game for the Bears morale. Jalen Johnson is not playing in this game. He's not going to be playing for a while. He's out indefinitely. We could potentially not be seeing him for a very, very long time as we get through the season here. But I'm taking the Bears here. Kyler Gordon's questionable for this game. If he's able to go, it'd be big against the Cowboys' 2 receivers. So give me the Bears to win this game, so and get their first win on the year. Next up, we have an NFC West matchup between two teams that are 2-0. It is the Arizona Cardinals taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The Cardinals, they're coming off a win versus the Carolina Panthers. Beat two pretty weak teams through 2 weeks. They beat the Saints, they beat the Panthers. Nothing really special. Um, they almost let the Panthers come from behind and beat them. I believe the Panthers got an onside kick. Bryce Young mounted a few drives, but Arizona's defense evidently did enough. Calais Campbell made a few plays in the last drive. Arizona got pressure, and Arizona escaped the game with a win. The Niners, they're 2-0 as well, beating the Saints last week and beating the Seahawks in week 1. So this could be a pivotal game for NFC West seeding at this point or later in the year. I said before the season, I'm a believer in Jonathan Gannon. I'm a believer in the Cardinals. I just think Kyler Murray needs to play a little bit better. He's made some costly throws through 2 weeks. If he even plays average, I think Arizona can be a decent team and then can be like an 8 to 10 win team. So Brock Purdy, who was expected to be out for a little bit longer, did actually practice in a limited capacity today. So it'd be interesting to see if he's able to go on Sunday versus the Cardinals. If Mac Jones starts in this game, I'm taking the Cardinals. I believe they're going to start 3-0 if Mac Jones is on the other side. Um, I don't see Mac Jones's performance that he had against the Saints really riding that high for too long. I don't see him being able to repeat that weeks on weeks on weeks. It is in Santa Clara, so it'll be interesting to see if 49ers can do it without Brock Purdy. But if Brock Purdy plays in this game, I might end up switching to San Francisco. I'll update you guys on that next week. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But right now, as I said, I believe Mac Jones is going to play this week. I believe it's going to be one more week until Brock Purdy's fully healthy with a toe injury to end up being able to go. But give me Arizona to go to 3-0. Niners drop to 2-1, and the Cardinals get the win on the road. Next up, we have a weird Sunday Night Football matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants. The Chiefs, they're 0-2. The Giants, they're 0-2. I mean, it feels good to say the Chiefs are 0-2, but Patrick Mahomes, they're gonna get a win eventually. They play two tough teams, two tough outs the first 2 weeks of the year. They have the Chargers and the Eagles, obviously, and the NFL's not letting the Chiefs go to 0-3. That's not just what's gonna happen. The Chiefs are going to 0-3. Um, Xavier Worthy's questionable. Don't think he's gonna play though. Mahomes needs to get this win. The Chiefs know they need to get this win. It's a team they're clearly superior than. The defending AFC champions on the road. Russell Wilson played well last week. I don't expect him to play as good against the Chiefs defense led by Steve Spagnuolo. The Chiefs defense is much better than the Cowboys defense. Let's get that straight. So the Chiefs are the better team here. They're gonna win this game on the road, and I believe last week was really the Giants' chance to get this done, but I believe the Chiefs are going to win this game. They're going to go to 1-2, and they're going to get their first win of the year. And I believe Kansas City will be fine. I believe they'll be fine. I'm saying that on the record, even after the 0-2 start. And they have a pivotal game versus the Baltimore Ravens next week, which we're about to talk about right now, actually. So, give me the Chiefs to win on Sunday Night Football. And to cap off week 3, we have a great Monday Night Football game. It is an air conference matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens. The Lions, they dropped 52 points on Ben Johnson in the Bears' head last week, and it was a showing for Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and the entire Lions offense as a whole. They were great. They were great. They're traveling to M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, which is one of the toughest places to play in the entire National Football League. It's a primetime game. Place going to be rocking for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson at the helm. Derrick Henry at the helm, coming off a very sluggish game against the Cleveland Browns. Did not make that many plays at all, and I expect him to have a big rebound game. The key matchup in this game for me is the Baltimore running game with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, as always, as we just said, versus the Detroit Lions defense. Can the Detroit Lions defense do enough to hold down that Baltimore Ravens running game? And I think it's what's going to end up winning the game for Baltimore. The key for this one for me is Baltimore's at home. They're 1-1. I believe Baltimore does not want to drop to 1-2. Seeing Kansas City on the schedule next week, they know how good Patrick Mahomes is. They know how tough that game's going to be. And I believe Lamar Jackson and the boys are going to get this win at home. Detroit drops to 1-2, though I still believe they'll be a very good team. Baltimore goes to 2-1, and in a game we'll see a lot of points scored, I think. A lot of points will be scored between both offenses. Dan Campbell, John Harbaugh, two gritty head coaches, two respected head coaches among the National Football League. So I expect this Monday Night Football game to be a really fun one and a really interesting one for a lot of football fans. And I expect Baltimore to cap off the week with a win. And there are the picks. Buffalo, Atlanta, Green Bay, Houston, Cincinnati, New England, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, Tennessee, Washington, Denver, Seattle, Chicago, Arizona, Kansas City, and Baltimore. All 16 games, all 16 picks. Get your screenshots when I end up sucking this week again. But my lock is Tampa Bay over the New York Jets. And my upset is Tennessee over Indianapolis. Tampa Bay is my lock. Hopefully we can go to 3-0 in the locks. And hopefully we can increase to 2-1 in the upsets with a Tennessee win over Indianapolis. So yeah, those are the picks right there for week 3. And now we'll go over the power rankings real quick. I'll make my explanation for where everybody's placed, and let's show you all the power rankings real quick. So yeah, and here are the week 3 power rankings, topping off the top 3. I don't think there's really any debate with the top 3 right now. Eagles, Bills, they both stay the same in the top 2, and the Packers go up to number 3 with the way they're playing in the first 2 weeks. There's really zero debate about the top 3 right now. Eagles, Bills, Packers, top 3 teams in pretty much everybody's power rankings right now, followed by Baltimore. Chargers, after the way they've started, 2 pivotal divisional wins in the first 2 weeks. Justin Herbert and the defense both playing well. They go all the way up to number 5. They increase 3 spots. Tampa Bay with a 2-0 start, 5th straight year. They go up 4 spots to number 6. Los Angeles Rams stay the same at number 7. A little bit sluggish in their first 2 wins, especially in the Texans game, but evidently they are still in the top 10. They're 2-0. This is where it gets interesting. Indianapolis Colts up 11 spots from last week. They were number 19 last week. The way they started with Daniel Jones 2-0, he's firing on all cylinders. They deserve to go up this much, even though I'm not a believer in them. This is like I say this every week, but this is more like the consensus power rankings where most people would rank these teams right now. And the power rankings, how they've played, how they started, and as you can see, I value 2-0 starts as the like the top 10. It displays a bunch of 2-0 teams in the top 10 here. So Indianapolis up 11 spots, Detroit up 3 spots from number 12 last week because of the win they got and 52 points basically. Washington down to number 5, no Jaden Daniels this week, and coming off a loss. Chiefs down 2 spots to the loss to the Eagles. Niners and Cardinals both increase heavy. Cardinals, I was thinking +8 might be a little bit too much, but I mean, you could justify putting the Bengals over them. You could justify not moving the Bengals at all. I only had the Bengals down 1 because of the Joe Burrow loss. If not, I'd have them move maybe a little bit higher, honestly, in this area. But they won the game with Jake Browning, so I guess you can't really justify putting them down that much. I think the Bengals deserve to be at number 14 with a 2-0 start right now. Broncos at 15, Falcons at 16 +4 to win over Minnesota. Cowboys go down 2, even with the win against the Giants. It was a slugfest. It was a high scoring game. The defense looks very, very weak to me. It's a huge hole in the Cowboys team, and it's the reason they won't be very successful. Minnesota down 12. JJ McCarthy out. Aaron Jones out. Christian Darrisaw still with health concerns, though he could play this week. They're down 12 spots. They have to be justified to be below the Atlanta Falcons, and there's no JJ McCarthy now for a few weeks. So Seattle at 19, Pittsburgh 1 spot below them at 20. Texans down 7 with the 0-2 start. They were at number 14 last week. They go down 7. Raiders at 22. Patriots at 23 +3 with the win over Miami. Still in the 20s though. Jaguars go down 1 with the loss to Jake Browning and the Bengals. Giants go up 5, really because of the offensive performance they had. Russell Wilson threw a career high in yards. The offense was firing on all cylinders. Bears at 26, Jets at 27. They're down 3. No Justin Fields this week. Plus, they got killed by the Bills. Um, Miami at 28. They stay the exact same. They did put up a fight in the New England game, but we're still valuing that Colts game in this equation. Carolina at 29. Tennessee at 30. Cleveland at 31, they're down 2 spots, got pretty much killed by the Ravens, and New Orleans stays the exact same now for the first 3 weeks. Back-to-back-to-back weeks, we've had the Saints as the worst team in the league in our 365 power rankings. So, yeah, those are the week 3 power rankings going into the game tonight when you guys are seeing this. I'm recording this on Wednesday night, but you guys are seeing this tomorrow afternoon. But that's it for this week. That's the picks. That's the power rankings. Went over everything we needed to. Went over my record. Went over where I have teams ranked. So yeah, it's about a 40-minute video this week. It's actually kind of crazy. We don't usually have picks. We usually have like 30, 35-minute videos. We made it to 40 minutes this week. So yeah, hope you guys do enjoy the video. If you guys did enjoy, please like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications for more videos every single week, exactly like this, picks, power rankings, and more. Hope y'all have a great day or night whenever you're seeing this. Go Bengals. Let's have a weekend of football. I'll see you on Tuesday with the 365 recap. See y'all later.